Recording is on.
We only have 486 minutes of space, so keep it brief. Whatever you do have to talk about, please.
Oh, that's not a problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's 5 after, so might as well get started here. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to our November audio frequency mixer session. So this is our informal first Wednesday of the month event that seems to be working out well and becoming a bit of a tradition. So just a couple housekeeping things, of course, right? Just remember to, as much as possible, keep your mic muted. You use the M button for quick access to that. Spacebar works as a PTT, of course. And as you know, this meeting is being recorded and posted at the usual place. All of the previous meetings are already archived there for you to peruse and watch again and again and sell or do whatever you want with them. So, yeah. So that's it. I will start off, I think, with a bit of an announcement that I just got, I think about 3-4 days ago, regarding the long, maybe not long forgotten, but maybe fading memory of the FDIM Buildathon project. Rex had gotten several messages over the last few months from people inquiring about the status of the project. He hadn't given us too many tidbits, and there weren't too many updates on his website either. And well, he gave a little synopsis of why that was. So I'll just give you a few minutes here to update you on that, because I know he only sent it out to people that had already registered and paid, which I'm not sure how many people here are in that group, but just for your curiosity, he actually opened with the title of the message was an update that's long overdue. And he said, no, I've absconded with all the Buildathon kit funds and now touring the world in his private jet. But unfortunately, the reality is he's somewhere in a subterranean space under his house, trying to get caught up with things. He has apparently one ham friend in Limerick. Limerick's a very small town in Maine. I've visited him there in person, so I can attest to that. Definitely a blink and you miss it kind of place. But anyway, old guy that needed some help with his house, basically rebuilding a deck and repairing a roof and whatever. So that's what Rex has been doing for the last 2 or 3 months, I guess end of summer, early fall. So I won't bore you with all the details, but that is finished, and he is back to working on his QRP business, as well as getting the Acorn Tube 2 transmitter project, the FDIM 2020, back on track. So his plan actually was, I think at his home, his internet connection is pretty poor. So his plan was to use a local library's internet connection, and he has actually several old ambulances that he has converted into what he calls hambulances. So made them basically mobile operating and otherwise useful stations. So his latest one, he was going to convert into a mobile video studio and drive that over to the library and do the buildathon from there. That was his plan. However, apparently, I guess with all the COVID things going on, the Wi-Fi has had its ups and downs at the library. But more importantly, when he took his ambulance and put gas in it, found out that he had a fuel tank leak, and now he's got to spend lots of money on a new fuel tank, which he doesn't have right now, because I guess sales have been a little bit weak in his QRPB business. So if you want to support him, have a look at the QRPB site. And, this is totally not something that he put me up to, but hey, you know what? You can send a few bucks his way if you are bored and have no kits to work on. So anyway, so I assume that he's going to be doing the online buildathon from some other place with a better internet connection and not in his mobile studio. So I will share, actually, just so you know, that there is a actual here we go, share my screen. There we go. That there is actually something going on. These are all posted on his QRP.me site, but just for your edification, there is the prototype that he has made up for the transmitter. It goes on for several pages with details on what he's done and some of the trials and tribulations that he's been through. He's got all of his parts ready to be kitted up, and he actually said that he is going to be having the kitting done probably by the end of this week, and documenting things as well this week, and more updates in the next couple of weeks. But he's approaching completion. He's got the boards, he's got them starting to get collated together. I guess he's doing this all himself by the sounds of it. But there is work in progress going on, and anyway, so there you have it. Things are progressing with that, so I'll stop sharing my screen now. Get back to this. So there you go. That's the update, the condensed version of it from Rex. He does like to go on a little bit with, like I said, some details, but that's you have it. So if any of you still have interest, half a year on from the FDIM Buildathon, if you know Rex, he usually puts together interesting little kits. So might want to have a look at it, and if you are inclined, jump in. I've offered to be the Canadian distributor for these kits if he is interested. So, I would get them all brought over for one shipping cost, and get some economies of scale there. So that's something I've offered, but haven't really had any fruitful discussions with him about that yet. So, Ken, you had your hand up.
What's the cost for it? Does he know yet?
$50 actually. It was something that as in past years, prepaid. In the months leading up to FDIM. So I think you had 50 or 60 people already registered, paid up, and all that, and that's what he used to purchase all the parts and that. But $50 US is the price of admission. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of a neat, I don't know how many tube kits you have lying around, but it is kind of unique, and might be something to at least, like I said, have a look at and see if it turns your crank. So, as far as myself personally, I'm still hunting around for a good design for my 817, looking for an audio and cat control interface for it. That's really what I've got on my mind at the moment as something that I can, I think relatively easily put together. So right now I'm just boning up on that, seeing what I can find as far as what's out there. I know it's a very popular platform, so if anyone has any commentary or has an 817 that they want to, I know I got some information back in the summer when I brought it up, but if anybody's got some info, please feel free to bring it up later in the meeting, or send post something in the group so that can be of assistance. I would much appreciate it. So that's just a little update on what is going on. I've just more or less got my not my shack, but my workbench cleaned up and ready to rock and roll with things. I actually just put together, had been in storage for a little while, a stereo microscope for doing really small, components and all that. As I approach the grand old age of 50, my eyes are not quite what they used to be. So I thought that might be something that would be helpful. So I saw them being used down at Dayton and was quite impressed with them. So got one a while back, and quite happy with its use. I was a little bit dismayed when I first put it together because the depth, the working area, I should say, underneath the is it the objective, I guess, of the microscope was pretty slim. But I picked up a Barlow 0.5x Barlow that dramatically increased that working space. So very, very easy to get a soldering iron and everything with it. So anyway, I think that's an ideal tool, but time will tell as I start getting my fingertips burned. So anyway, that's that. So I guess next on, oh, Ken, yeah, something.
You know, Dave's going to want proof that you cleaned up your bench, eh?
He's going to want proof. Yeah, you're right. I had no time to put some photographic evidence, huh?
He's going to want proof that you actually have a bench, let alone
a bench. Okay. Yeah, I got actually 3 benches now. So, you know, there you go. And progress. But yeah, the shack is still maybe a work in progress for next spring. I don't know, something like that. All right. So, Peter, you wanted to talk about a LNA board that you got a little project you're working on. So, please go ahead.
Okay. Here, I'll just bring up I'll just share my screen. Just got a few short slides and then. Everybody can see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
What started this was locally here in Kingston, there's a couple of hams that are messing around a lot with satellite stuff. And in particular, the NOAA satellites and decoding that. So that started off a round of buying hack RFs and RTLs and couple of LNAs and homebrew antennas of a different types, quadrifilar and an egg beaters. So somewhere in the middle of all that, I decided to pick up one of these cheap LNAs off of eBay and just see what happens with it. So here's what it looks like. And the specs on the right there, 50 megahertz to 4 gig. And the gain at 900 megahertz is 18.7, they say, and max voltage 5.5 input. And let's see the temperature range. So minus 40, plus 85. Yeah, we don't get those temperatures, so we can safely put that on the mast, right? Although as time goes by, it feels like minus 40 out there some days. So here's what's inside. This is not mine on the left because I didn't want to try to desolder the shield off of it. Very simple, very plain. There's the schematic for it. Nothing fancy. And I think this board I paid around $6 for it, free shipping. And I did take a look a couple of days ago, and I think it's still around that $6-7 mark, but a lot of places are charging $5 to ship, so you're probably up around $12 now for it. The actual chip itself is, I think you can get like a pack of 10 for, I don't know. I forget what the price is off the top of my head, but they're not that expensive if you feel like etching your own board, which I think I'm going to try and do on one of the local hams here. Picked up a pack of those things, and he's decided they were too small because he blew the preamp in his hack RF. So I said, I'll order the chip and I'll put it in for you. Although I have to admit, it's a really, really small, well, it's a small chip and it's a very cramped area to work in. Anyway, he popped them in the mailbox a couple of days ago and is going to let me have them. And I said, okay, in return, I'll mount one on a breakout board for him, and you can use it. I think the package is is a SOT 363 6-pin chip. So, okay. So here I did a sweep from 1 meg to 30 meg, 0 input. dBm was the tracking generator, and you can see on the right there the amplitudes that I was reading at the various frequencies of. Well, I did the 1.8, 3.5, 7, and 15 megahertz. And there you can see what the, and I set it at 0 dBm so you could easily read off what the gain was at those frequencies. And it was interesting because even though it was rated at 50 megahertz, I thought, well, what will it do below that? and it actually starts to fall off around that around the 7 megahertz area, maybe 8 megahertz, somewhere around there. It starts to dip down. There, I just did a 1 kilohertz to 50 megahertz sweep, just because. And then I did 50 megahertz to 2.1 gigahertz sweep, and again just because. And I didn't really mark off where the 900 megahertz, but I think the 900 megahertz, it came in pretty close to what the spec was saying that it was supposed to do. So it's a very simple device, of course, as you can see the schematic, and then there's some mods would be, you know, to do some protection on the input end, because you can blow the chip fairly easily, which I haven't done yet. And again, the bottom schematic, the other guy has added in some filtering. I think that value there, I think, is given a low pass for around 900 megahertz or something like that. So I don't know what the calculation would be for lower on that one. But anyway, it's cheap enough that you can hack into it and mess around with it and not be too worried. And I think the other thing was, oh yeah, one thing I thought about was the bias T. You can see where in the top schematic there, it's this particular LNA is powered with a separate input, and because a lot of these LNAs will have the DC put on the coax and come up on the RF out line. So I don't know if modifying this LNA, you know, if you wanted to do something like that, mount this up on the up by the antenna, and instead of running a separate line for the DC power, what if we just took that VCC and just routed it over to the RF out terminal and then feed the DC up that way? Anyway, just a thought, but I doubt I'll do something like that, but you know, you never know. But that was just a thought. So going forward, what else can you do with it? Well, I was thinking that you know, I had a prototype DCR board on the bench, and I have a whole slew of bandpass filters lying around for 40 meters as well. Although one that I built for 40 was much better at 10 megahertz than it was at 40 meter band. But anyway, stick that in. I stuck that on the LNA in front of the DCR, and boy, oh boy, did it ever make a big difference. And well, that was expected, of course. And of course, the bandpass filter was pretty good. The bandpass filter that I did for the LBS project didn't work. Wasn't quite as good as the one from QRP Labs. I also tried a QRP Labs bandpass filter for 40, and it worked really, really well. You can also, or you did just put it instead of an LNA, just put an RF amplifier in front of it. Just thinking of the DCR project at the moment. An RF amplifier in the front will make a big improvement, and that's what I think will be nice about the DCR project, is that you know, you have room to do a little bit of modifications and additions and add little boards here and there, and see the results. And of course, you can always add the LNA to the front end of an RTL dongle or hack RF or whatever. That has been done here locally, and the improvement was remarkable on the results of these guys were getting with the NOAA satellite images. Especially the one that was mounted. One guy mounted his LNA, not this particular board, a different LNA. He mounted his on the up by the antenna, and I forget the name of that one. It's got a strange name, but it escapes me for the moment. But it's also got a filter in there, so he's pretty much toast for that antenna to being anything but that. Okay, that's all I have for that. Eric, thank you.
Yeah, actually, I had a couple questions, or a few questions for you on
Okay.
that. One of them, I don't know, this may be a naive question, but on the schematic for the first one you put up, the native version, where's the ground in that? Just curious. I didn't see it.
Let me bring the schematic back up.
Sure. Sorry, I should have interrupted you while you had it up there, but I was being respectful
Oh yeah.
for once.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, there is a ground there. I guess it might be a little bit confusing. Here's your ground here, 4 and 2.
Oh, both of those? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the DC power, it comes in right here on this line here. It feeds in on the output of the RF out. So here the capacitor blocks the DC from going out. But as I was mentioned before, what if you fed a lot of LNAs are fed from the DC up the coax, so the DC would be coming in this way. So to power up here, would you just route this line over to here? But anyway, I haven't given it too much thought. But the way this particular board is wired up is the VCC is a separate feed.
Is there any way of increasing the gain with this? Are there any tweaks that can be done to that to get higher gain out of it? Or?
I guess throw another LNA in front of it.
But yeah, can you put them in parallel? I mean, does that work?
No idea.
Yeah.
Send me $12 and I'll order another one.
Right. All right. What frequency you said you?
Okay, it's rated from 50 megahertz to 4 gig.
Right. Which one did you use in your test? I'm curious.
I did it all the way from 1 mega. I actually went down to 1 kilohertz to see how it goes
On the suites, but do you actually did it like in an actual radio circuit? Like, did you?
I know I had it. Well,
or just on the bench.
The spectrum, yeah, it was on the bench. Spectrum analyzer has a 50 ohm input, so that took care of that part of it. But and I swept the input at 0 dBm, and these were the readings here that I got on the output of it.
Right. Okay, but that was just that board in isolation. Like you haven't actually put it into a chain of
I did put it in a chain. I have a DCR.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's. I'm curious. Like, what frequencies were you seeing the boost in?
Yeah, I didn't make measurements,
No.
but I just did actually I did some recordings, but I didn't get around to, I was thinking of trying to share the recordings so you can hear the difference.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to do that. But I definitely did originally I tried just the LNA on its own and got a lot of broadcast stuff. And then I tried the LBS filter and it didn't really make much improvement. And then now, of course, unfortunately, I didn't do it the same night, which probably would have been much better. Because a couple of days later, I then tried the same setup, but this time I added the QRP Labs bandpass filter into it, and it was great. It was perfect. But so I have a little bit of just a little bit of a trial in an actual circuit, but it was with the DCR. I have not tried it on with a dongle or anything that like yet, but well, now that I'm finished breaking leaves,
I'll send some more over.
Okay, great. Thanks, Peter.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
text from San saying he just got home, so I suspect that he'll be joining us.
Okay. Could you maybe put a link up to the place where you picked up the that's, like, I don't know, post it or what have you afterwards?
Sure.
Just in case anyone's interested.
I'm not exactly sure which place I bought it from because it was quite, as you know, eBay. It takes a month to get here, and I probably ordered it about 2 months ago. So, but
right.
I can certainly find a similar board for it. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So, he who shall not be named, actually, who's not in on the call, VE3OI suggested, I guess, since he is making a new shack in his new big shack, suggested that we have a sort of an ongoing segment in our informal meetings here, which is basically a shack tour. So if anyone would like to put together a short little whatever series of pictures, or even an actual little video tour of their shack, I think that would be illuminating. We always see selected ones Peter, of course, always has his grandiose bench there in the background. Actually, I guess the other Peter, I see you've got a few pieces of equipment back there as well. So, are we going to get an actual, maybe a tour right now? Look at that. Well, at least an overview of it. A 10-centimeter view. But yeah, something to think about going forward.
I can't turn the camera the other way, though. I haven't had a chance to clean up.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I thought that might actually be interesting, just so everybody can, show what they actually have as far as equipment. There might be some conversation starters. I think it's a good idea, and obviously Dave's going to have some things to show, I guess, and as he the genesis of his new little cave starts to come together. So I don't know if I can call it a cave, but there you go. I did.
I'm sure Joanne thinks it's a cave.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's making a spot for her. You never know. She might.
I doubt it.
You never know. All right. Well. Peter. Yes.
Okay, I just posted the link on the chat for a module, and there's one there for about $7 and change, and free shipping. And then there's another one in there that they want $38 for. So I don't understand how they can. One guy wants $38 for the same board when somebody else is selling it for $7. But anyway, whatever.
The go away price. Yeah. Okay, Ken, I believe you mentioned you had something that you wanted to discuss. So please go ahead.
Okay, guys. Speaking of DCR, I got two items. First item is Peter has written up a proposal to the executive to cover $20 to a kit cap of 20 kits. So I think it's at the executive level. They've received an email from Al, our very own Al, who was kind enough to forward everything to them. And we shall see what happens. The next executive meeting is December, in the beginning of December. I will be attending that to give us a boost. But no real comments right now. The only comment there was that Al passed on was a kit cap. If you're saying 20 and it turns out 30 people want, then it's getting to be too much. I told them basically in the email, when we originally had a sign-up sheet, we had 20 spaces and 18 people, or 18 slots were filled, and 2 of them being prototyping. And then we recently did a poll and we only got 16. So it's reasonable to say that our kit cap will be 20 kits. So let's see what the executive has to say about forking out $400. And Peter and I will keep you guys posted on what's going on. Now, the other item for the DCR is my buddy Diz over at Kits and Parts. He actually has a Groups IO set up, and apparently he is retiring a lot of his kits, and the ones that are popular are being rebuilt for purely SMD. He's also adding a couple kits. One of them was a SMD soldering kit to learn how to solder SMD parts. The other one is a prototype DCR. So what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen, and I will do the okay. So if you actually go to his site, where his over here the RF kits, he has a new DCR module. Now it's in prototyping right now. What he has done is asked for volunteers to build his kits at a reasonable cost. The kit is $10 US right now. It'll probably be a minimum of 20 US when it becomes available to the public. He's going to have different configurations. Up at the top left there is the tune control for the VCO or super crystal oscillator. He's got a DDS input. He's got power in, side tone in, volume control, speaker. He's got AGC, and this is the output for it if you want to use it on something, another module, and a muting control, and then input from the antenna. There's going to be different configurations for the VFO and the input. So the VFO being over here and the RF here. So far, he's got two RF input configurations, a wide band. So for the wide band, these two capacitors are not used. And if you wanted a tuned input, then these two capacitors will be used. Right now, he's showing a crystal, and he's pulling it up and down slightly with a varicap. He's going to possibly have an actual VFO with an LC circuit, and I think there was another choice as well. I don't recall what it is, but I think what the kit will finally be is what people have built, being a guinea pig, and he wants feedback to see. Now, I'm not sure if the kit will include all the options or you have to order by option. So in this case, if you want it, in my case, I bought two kits. I bought one as a broadband input with a DDS VFO, and another one as a tuned input with a super crystal adjustment, just the one that's shown here. So I think there were $10 a kit, so I paid like $37 Canadian for both kits. But that's at a reduced cost because he's looking for guinea pigs. Now, I was going to start with doing the DDS version first. So what I have done is I've taken his circuit and eliminated all the parts that are not used for a DDS input. So you'll see the VFO is virtually gone here. There's nothing left. This one's going to be for a broadband input, so I'm not sure. Yeah, this capacitor has to be eliminated for broadbandness. So basically, this is not used. Your DDS goes in. It's capacitive coupled. Now, what he's done here is there's a bandpass filter with the crystal, and what he's done here is you can build your own bandpass. The space is there, and I think the parts are there as well. What I intend to do instead is I'm going to use these three spots for an attenuator. The signal out of the PARC SIGGEN is quite high, so our current DCR design is set up with an attenuator, and I'm probably going to use the same thing there. And then I'll just, instead of putting R3 in, I'll just put a short on there. So it'll be DDSN, the PARC SIGGEN in through an attenuator and then into the chip. And the input is broadbanded. So hopefully this weekend I'll have some time to put this thing together. and I will let everybody know how it goes. Now, the kit that I got, this is the kit for the DDS. So you can see how big the board is, 2 3/4 by what, 1.25 inches maybe. There's all the parts on the side. His kits will not include outboard parts. So, for example, it will not include the volume control. It will not include a jack and a plug for the power. It will not include a jack and plug for the audio. You have to supply that yourself. And this is how he's trying to keep the cost down. And I'm not sure when he intends to release it to the public, but I guess he's waiting for feedback on it. And I think that's all I have to share. Do I? That's Jitsi. No, that's it. So that is it, my friends.
Oh, I think I'm muted. Oh, there we go. You just had the schematic up the whole time. Was that your intention, or were you trying to show some other things? Just sounded like at one point you were trying to show something else, but anyway.
Did you see this?
No, at least I didn't.
No,
Oh,
no, I didn't either.
Okay, there's something wrong with the sharing here.
Yeah, I think you maybe just had it sharing that one tab maybe or something.
Share. Let's try the entire screen. No, I can't. I will share application windows. Try that. See that?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Now it's there.
Instead of coming out and sharing a new connection, I just was going. So that's the DDS kit I have right now that I will build. So like I said, it's like what, 2 3/4 by what, 1.25 inches.
What's the second kit that you've got then?
It's the same thing, except that the VFO will be an 80-meter QRP crystal with adjustable frequency, so it's going to push and pull the crystal slightly, and the input is going to be tuned for that frequency. And let me see what else I missed here. God, this is share. Come on. Windows and there. Can you see the schematic?
Yes.
Okay, so this is, I've taken this main circuit or schematic, and I've eliminated the parts that I will not be using at all. So this is your DDS input. He had a bandpass filter here. I will not be using that. I'll be putting in an RF attenuator, and R3 will be shorted out. And then the broadband input, the C4 is going to be eliminated because it's tuned then. But I'll be eliminating that. And I think that's it. Stop sharing.
Okay, thank you very much, Ken.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I think that's it.
Yep. All right, so maybe we will just go around the room and see what is on everybody's workbench for the moment. So in my progression here, I see Kevin, you're at the top of my list here. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what's on your mind.
Not a whole lot. I just got some huge contracts to take care of, so my workbench is sitting all lonesome by itself without much attention. So anyway, although I do have this project that I've been working on since the last FDM that I was at, and it's that CW generator, Peter. I don't know if you remember that kit that I was going to do with the blue pill. It's like, anyway, so it's sitting there. I actually was working on it, but almost got it ready. So maybe by the next meeting, I'll actually have it working. So I shouldn't say I'm not doing anything. I'm just not doing it very fast. CW. I do have one of those things somewhere, but
Yeah.
I'm muted. Just after we were talking about today with that video that you sent about, things being too complicated. CW is the antidote to that, I think. So anyway, that's it. On to the next.
Yep. All right. Thanks very much, Kevin. So Dwayne, I see you are next in rotation, and at the risk of sticking my neck out, being the only one who is stateside here, and noticing that it's still for grabs. Just you have to just say one word to answer my question. Is it going to be red or is it going to be blue?
Right now it looks kind of purple.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer. Yes, very good. Georgia, right? That's where you are?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, anyway, that's as much politics as we're going to have in tonight's event here. So why don't you go and tell us what's on your mind?
Haven't been doing too much. I've been playing with the tiny SA and following a lot of the information going on. There's already been about 3 revisions of the firmware for it. Other than that, I've been trying to shrink down the size of my workbench a lot. So I've been 3D printing a bunch of little storage cabinets and stuff like that, so I can make it for just about whatever I want and use up some of these small rolls of filament that I've got. Eric, you mentioned that you got a stereo microscope for that. I use a little set of these. These are you'd see a surgeon or a doctor would use. They're right now very inexpensive on eBay, and I think probably Amazon, about $20. This one clips right on my glasses. I've got another one that clips on that has a headband on it to mount it, and they work real well. This one's 2.5 power, and it's got a 420 millimeter working distance, and they're really nice when working on stuff, and you give you good field of view. And that's about it from here.
What's the magnification on those? Roughly?
This one is 2.5, and I've got another one that's 3.5. There's several different ones out there. They've all got about a 400 millimeter working depth.
Right. Huh. And they look a little more comfortable than the big headband style ones, right? With the flip downs and.
Yeah. Well, they got one like that that's just got a headband that goes on. It's got the same. Let's see. It's got the same thing here, but it's got a small headband on it that works quite well. These clip all right. These work nice because they just clip on the glasses. I've seen these. I used to work in medical instrumentation, and I spent some time in the OR, and depending upon what was going on, you'd see the surgeons wear the very expensive versions of them, but now these are around like $20-25, so they're just about the right price range, and they work really well.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. Yeah, I've not seen anyone use those in the amateur radio circles, but yeah, good tip. Appreciate that. Okay, so we are on to Peter DRS. You are up. So what's on your bench these days?
Well, I was looking for a project. I've been playing with interfacing radio to the internet, and I found this project called Brian, which means Baofeng Radio Interface to the All-Star Network. I don't know if you've heard of the All-Star Network, but the All-Star Network is kind of like an Echo Link kind of gateway. And you need a radio to interface to the board. And just see if I can get this. I've not done the screen sharing before. Let's see if I can get it to work. Yeah. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
So the little radio board here is the guts ripped out of a little Baofeng FRS radio. And then the board underneath it is the interface. That's a Ethernet jack that lets you interface to a Raspberry Pi. And then you run the software on the Raspberry Pi, which gives you the interface to this All-Star Network. So the first thing I bought for, well, I got to go back from sharing. How do I stop sharing? Stop sharing, that'll do it. I bought that for 20 bucks off of Amazon. It's an FRS radio. And so far I have successfully hooked it up to my computer and reprogrammed it so it works on 440 instead of on the FRS band. And that's the radio front end to the other part. That's as much as I've done so far. So it's progress. But it's kind of cool because there you have a $20 440 megahertz FM transceiver if you want.
I'm curious, what did you use to reprogram it? Was it?
I used Chirp.
Okay.
And I got a cable that's a serial to, I got this for $8 off of eBay. So it's got a microphone plug on one end, and it's got a little serial to USB interface in that end. The one thing I found out is you got to be careful to get a genuine FTDI USB to serial interface. They've gotten nasty. There's lots of these that have counterfeit chip on them. So when you plug the one with a counterfeit chip into your serial port and it loads the latest drivers, when you hook it up to the radio, puts the radio into transmit and just leaves it in transmit until you burn out your front end. So
cool.
Nice people, eh? Well, I mean, you're stealing their chips, so I guess they're entitled to get a little bit nasty. But anyway.
So in other words, spend the $20. Don't go for the
spend the $20
one.
Exactly. Yeah. But this was this is a Retevis. Retevis is they make all kinds of FRS stuff, and apparently they're a real company, so that the cable works. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You can you just hook it up and you download all the frequencies. It's the 16-channel FRS radio, and when you hook it up, you download all the settings, and then you can go through and edit the frequencies, and it'll do a separate transmit and receive frequency. So you could even set it up to do a repeater. It'll do CTCSS. So unfortunately, our UHF repeater is down, so I can't I can't try it out on the repeater to see if it works. But I'm sure it would. It's only 2 watts out though.
FRS frequencies are like 460, right? Something like that.
Yes, but what's interesting is that the radio actually, I think, was designed for the PMRS band in Europe, and the PMRS band in Europe sits right in 440, like right in the middle of 440. So I think the radio actually works better on 440 than it does on the 460 megahertz FRS frequencies. Unfortunately, the antenna doesn't come off, so I can't hook it up to a SWR meter or anything like that to see what kind of power I'm getting out of it. But,
maybe with pliers it would come off.
Yeah, I guess if I'm reluctant to rip it apart before I've decided what I'm going to do with it. It's so nice. It's actually a nice little radio. It would be a perfect, if you wanted a nice little set of FRS radios, I'm sure it would be fine.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate that. Thanks, Peter. POA, you had your hand up.
I'm curious, can anybody here actually program these radios without a computer? I tried and I just gave up and went to eBay and ordered the chirp and the cable and everything for it. They're a nightmare. I thought the 8900 was bad enough. The ASU 8900 was bad enough, but some of those Bofang stuff is something else.
Oh, the real deal. I mean, this one you can't program it because there's no buttons to program it. I mean, it's not designed to be programmed. It's intended to be on the 16 FRS channels, and you're not supposed to touch it. But being ham, of course, you can do what you want with it. But I have one of the real deal, dual band, and you're right. I gave up trying to program the damn thing. There's like 16 steps to program a repeater into it, and you get one of them wrong, and it doesn't work. So, every time you try and program one, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I'll second that. I've used Chirp with the cheap HTs, and it's easy to use. So
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, well, it's the same. It's Chirp. It's the exact same thing, and you do it exactly the same way. You just pull down the settings, and then you can go in and edit them. It said online that you could program it for 2 meters, but I tried it and it doesn't work. That seems a bit of a stretch.
Okay, well, appreciate that. I'm sure everybody can find the information on the web with what you posted on the screen, but I don't know if you have a moment, you could maybe throw a link on the chat.
I'll put the link up for sure.
Yeah, great.
And the radio is a Baofeng. I got the one that they had on Amazon is the 88, which is the one with the non-removable antenna. If I was more patient, I would have ordered it from China and got the 888, which is the one that has a removable antenna. But anyway, as you said, I'm sure PARC Flyers would take care of it if I really wanted to go for it.
Okay, Pete, you are up next. Come on down.
All right. Well, other than the latest with the LNA stuff, the only other thing I've been doing is actually just trying to clean the shack up a little bit from a couple of previous projects. But messing around with the LNA, that got me going with some power supply stuff. And so it's brought the forefront of me making up another power supply that's convenient for 5 volts. But other than that, I've been actually doing a lot of operating. I didn't do much this week on meteor scatter, but I was doing a lot of getting up early in the morning at 5 o'clock, well, 6 o'clock, 5:30, whatnot, getting up, trying some meteor scatter stuff and exploring that band with MSK 144, which is interesting. And a lot of FT8, although admittedly I am getting a little bit bored there. I completed worked all states a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So that was the challenge that got me going with it in the first place. And then now, of course, the country list is building. So I'm messing around with that a little bit. And then this week, locally here, we all got together and did some CW. I guess it was about 4 of us were on locally here. We did 10 meters. So ground wave, practicing our CW. So that went really well. So we'll probably do a regular sked on that sort of thing going forward. But that was a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've actually operated the CW. And Dwayne, when you're mentioning about the magnifying lens there and the doctors wearing them stuff, several years ago I was at the dentist office and I kind of liked those picks that he was shoving in my mouth, thinking I could use that for the homebrew stuff. So he actually gave me a bunch of them, as long as I promised I didn't pick my teeth with them, which wasn't a problem. I told him I don't like him picking away at them, let alone me doing it. But anyway, when I was at the dentist a little while last year there, he brought out those fancy glasses on there, and I said, oh, I could use those in the shack, hint, 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 hint. But they were a heck of a lot more expensive than those dental picks that the other guy was throwing out, so I didn't get that. Anyway. But I think I will take a look at it because I am noticing now that I do reach for a cheap pair of magnifying glasses I have. I can see pretty well close up without glasses on, but sometimes it's getting to the point now where, yeah, the magnifying glasses I think might start to come in handy. So anyway, that's it for the POA Shack this month there, Eric.
Great. Okay. Thanks very much for that update. All right. Next, we have Wayne on the list. So what would you like to share with us this evening?
Okay. Well, I've got a couple of kits that I've purchased from a Russian amateur off of eBay that I'm going to be putting together. They're 2 bandpass filter kits. There are four bands, dialed switched. And what I'm thinking about doing is I'm just preparing them for a couple of use cases. I'm going to do the first one exactly as per spec. Then I'm going to try to take the second one and bring in and rewire them to get different bands for it. And I also have a crystal filter, which I'll try to calibrate the crystals first and then build that from the same supplier. Oh, well, looks like you can see. There you go. One thing that's interesting about this particular kit is he doesn't supply toroids. Instead, he's got those old plastic core transformers that you'll wire on. You'll wrap the wire around the center post, and it has a ferrite slug that you screw in and out. So on these ones, instead of having, say, little variable capacitors, you have variable inductors. That's about it for me.
Okay. Very good. Have you bought things from this particular supplier before?
No. Once I get built, I'll let you know how they turn out.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep us posted. Great. Okay, thanks, Wayne. All right, Ken, you are next. So please go ahead.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
24/6 work. No, I haven't been able to do anything at all. Hopefully this weekend I'm going to work on that DCR from Diz, and hopefully over the weekend I'll get it built and try it out and see what happens.
Okay. All right. That is that. Hassan, I see you are there. Yep. Okay. You are alive as well. So yeah, what's on your mind?
Oh, so I got a 3D printer, so that's been taking up all my time. So I've been fiddling with that for a long time. I'm also taking a course on CNC, so I'm actually learning machining and stuff. So maybe one day I'll build a microwave antenna or something. I tried after last meeting to actually check out the 50 megahertz band after what Peter was describing. So I woke up in the morning and I didn't hear any activity there, so I don't know what's going on with that. So I tried using WSJT. Well, I'll see what I can do there, but I didn't see any activity there.
Peter.
And I think
Were you using WJST software for the MSK 144 mode? Like
I didn't know which mode to use. I was just listening I didn't know which mode to use. I was just listening on the bands. To see
you won't. I don't think you'll hear it. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that, but you got to go right to the frequency. But anyways, it's MSK 144.
Okay, I'll try it out. I found this cable actually, which basically plugs my sound card output to the input. So I think that's what I have to do. I have to receive with the PC speakers on my SDR, and then plug this into the microphone input, and then WSJT uses that.
Well, get yourself running on FT8 or 4 or whatever with that software. Once that's working, then it's just a switch over to the mode. That's it.
Yeah, okay. So I was about to pull the trigger on buying a transmitter, this Shigo XG90, and then I just stopped after I heard what you said last time. I think it doesn't do 50 megahertz, it only goes up to 30. So I'm thinking I should spring for something which actually does that, because I think this ionosphere stuff sounds cool. So now I'm back to square one and trying to figure out what to buy. I did see this kit, a 45 watt amplifier. It's $20 in a fully assembled form. And a lot of people complain that there are no instructions and stuff for it, but I was thinking it might even be a good buildathon project for us. a 45 watt linear amplifier, 0 to 30 megahertz. I posted a link about a month ago in the group. So, what is that?
That must be Dave.
He just texted me his bench. He couldn't join us tonight because he's busy unpacking his boxes for his bench.
Oh, sure.
He's got nothing else to do.
It looks like a children's playroom or something.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes. Big boys, big toys. Peter, DRS, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Hassan, that audio cable you have, are you connecting it directly to the audio input on your computer?
I haven't done it yet, but I think it's safe to do so.
I have found that it doesn't work very well. What I played with it for a while, I had no luck, and I discovered if you pick up one of these little USB sound cards that have plugged it in directly into my computer.
Recording is on.
Interesting. So that's used for input or for output or both?
Well, it's got an input and an output, but it's what goes directly into the computer is a TRRS plug, and what goes into this is a TRS plug for the mic and a TRS plug for the speaker, separate.
So you're hooking this up to your radio?
Yes.
Okay. See, I don't have an external radio, so I'm using my SDR software radio on the PC.
Oh, okay.
Input. I want to use the output comes from the speakers. Sometimes I've had luck decoding CW just by letting the speakers play and letting the microphone pick up whatever it hears, and it can.
Right.
But for low for WSJT, I think I need a bit more fidelity, so that's why I was trying to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, Hassan, I was doing something similar in the summer, just using, whatever, I guess, digital to analog to digital or whatever through the air. And it did work, but you're right, not for really weak signals all that well. So, Ken, I believe you had your hand up earlier. Did you?
Yeah. That 45 watt amp is all over the IOS groups, everywhere. Everybody, BitX, Homebrew, test equipment, everywhere. The problem with that kit is there's so many varieties of that kit out there, and the prices are ranging so much. What you actually have to do is find somebody who has bought one, built it, that comes with everything with it, and it works. Because it's just a shot in the dark when you go on eBay trying to buy these things. The original project was done by, I don't recall his call sign, but he's got a GitHub up there of the whole project. It comes as a 4x4 or a 7, a 4 band or a 4 relay or a 7 relay. And what he did is he made it open source, everything open source, and the Chinese have jumped on it and started making a kit. So you got to be careful about what you buy. Don had the original kit with an OLED display. A lot of these kits on eBay don't even have a display with it. So then you got to source that as well.
Okay, but that's a golden opportunity for the club because you know the care that Frank takes in building these kits and writing instruction manuals and the rest of the group. I mean, if we publish that, then the whole world will thank us for this. Even if it's just a set of instructions that are written in plain English.
What for the amp?
Yeah.
There's several people have done it already. You just have to go for looking on the IO groups.
Okay, I haven't seen any instructions yet, but okay. I'll check it out.
Okay, Dwayne, you had your hand up.
Just a comment for Hassan. Have you tried using the software virtual audio cable instead of going out the speaker and back in on a microphone? That seems to work pretty well for certain things.
Yes, I think it's not free, and so rather than shell out the money, I tried the free solution, which is to just go to the Windows settings and do that. I can't remember if it worked or not. It might have, but it was a bit tricky to get it working right. So I think that, believe it or not, the hardware solution might be the simplest, assuming the impedances are all okay and it doesn't blow up my input line in input. But yeah, virtual audio cable is the right way to do it if you want to spend the money, like $13 or something on that software.
I'll send you something later, Sam, because I picked up I'm using a virtual audio cable. It didn't cost me anything.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. I did that back in the summer when I was experimenting with digital modes, and yeah, there's a free one out there for sure. I think it's this vb-audio.com. I can't swear that that's the one, but I will find it and try to post the link on it. Definitely a freebie out there that works for sure. So.
Okay. By the way, the ham it up converter is excellent. So if you buy the $20 SDR and ham it up for like $40, you can basically have an HF SDR. It's a really good solution. Just receive only though, no transmit. But the ham it up converter basically converts the lower 50 megahertz band to like 125 megahertz IF. So then you can receive it with almost any SDR. And it's beautiful. You can see the entire AM band in one window and just kind of tune stations in between.
Yeah, so I just, yeah, that is the one. It's not no charge for it. It's donationware. So there you go. The link's in the chat. So. All right. Well, that completes the 8 of us that are on the call right now. So, unless anyone had anything to add at the end, we are pretty much at our just over 1 hour mark. So, oh, Ken, you got your hand up, I see.
San, what software are you using with the SDR?
The one I found that works is called SDR Angel.
Okay.
I've used a few pieces. I've tried just about everything. Every program has one flaw or another, or it doesn't work with my hardware. GQRX worked initially, now it doesn't. But GNU Radio works and SDR Angel work.
Oh, okay, that's kind of strange because they're back about 4 years ago. I was playing with stuff and SDRs, and there was a couple packages I was using that came with that, so they should be working.
Yeah, the GQRX comes with SDR or GNU Radio, but I don't know why it doesn't work. I'm pretty tempted to write my own. Just they have C libraries. I just want to interface with it.
Alrighty.
Okay, gentlemen. Well, I think that is a wrap. So I appreciate all of your input tonight. We got a few good discussions in there, so happy for that. And I guess we will see you all in a couple weeks on the 3rd Wednesday, the 18th, for our next regular homebrew meeting. So I guess have a good night, everybody, and we'll. I don't know. Be well. Get your flu shot.
Stay safe.
Are you going to come around and give one to everybody?
Yeah, just download the virtual app that I send you and put it right by your arm. If only.
If only.
All right.
All right. Cheers.
Okay, well, have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, have a good night,
Good night, everybody.
Bye.